Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly fantastic day today on this Monday. And as always, on Monday, we are reading through the super thanks that I got throughout the week. And the title of this video comes from a super thanks that we will get to. But first of all, let's shout out to @43vert. Shout out to you and your wife, as always. I hope you both are doing fantastic. And thanks so much for the $5 super thanks. And he says, thanks. And this is regarding my LeBron James is 13th in shot attempts all time. And question, is he a past first player? We all know the answer to that. And @43vert says, thanks, nice video, short and sweet. Lots of good info. Why does Westbrook get treated as he does? I can only think it has something to do with the dare. When you imitate LBJ and say what he says, it becomes so apparent how sickening and deceitful he is. I can't take the whole NBA bullshit any longer. He hurts so many people in so many ways. I can't put him in my top 50. Flopping. Who would think it would have come to this? Well, I know a couple of fanboys personally. Are their eyes closed or maybe their minds? You do know you'll never get anywhere with them. You have a fantastic day and we really enjoy the video. And again, shout out to @43vert. Thank you so much for the $5 super thanks. And, regarding the Russell Westbrook thing, I absolutely believe that, going to play with LeBron was a huge mistake. Again, I feel like, I know you fanboys don't want to admit it, but any superstar who goes to play with LeBron is taking a big risk of becoming a scapegoat. Really, any player that goes to play with LeBron is taking a huge risk of becoming a scapegoat if things are not going LeBron James's way. Yeah, and he says he doesn't have him in his top 50. And again, that's understandable. I mean, if we're being honest here, if we are being honest, flopping should theoretically just disqualify you from ranking at all, at least anywhere among the greats. I mean, to me, once you do something like flopping, there's a reason to put almost anyone in front of you who hasn't resort to that kind of cheating tactics, which I would say is probably 99% of the NBA. But yeah, again, shout out to 43vert. I hope you and your wife are doing well. And thanks again for the $5 super thanks. Next up, we have @SnugChamberlain 9986 with the $5 super thanks. And this comment is actually what I titled the video. So he says, thanks, my guy, as usual. Magnificent content. You're a real truth teller. I've got 2 questions I want to ask and get your insight on. Number 1, in 1984, let's say Portland's MJ, do you think his career turns out the same and he thrives with Drexler? Or do you think no matter where he went, he was going to be great no matter what? Love to hear your thoughts. So let's go ahead and address that first. If you watch my channel, you know how heavily I think a person's mindset weighs on, affects what their outcome will be. It affects what level of success. And I've done a video basically saying that there are certain players I believe that we're going to thrive no matter what. And it's simply because of their mindset. Michael Jordan is one of them. Larry Bird is another one. You could put Magic Johnson in that category as well. But there are certain players who I believe that, for lack of a better way to put it, just refuse to be stopped. And they were going to have their turn in the light, so to speak. Eventually, they were going to break through and get those championships. So it would be interesting to see MJ playing alongside Drexler. I will say this. I believe Scottie Pippen was perfect in the sense that there is really no alpha in Scottie. So I think he accepted that role perfectly. Now, what would be curious to see is if Drexler was more willing to play that second fiddle role, kind of like Scottie did, because he definitely, I mean, he's not Michael Jordan either, so he wouldn't. But at the same time, Drexler is a better player than Scottie. But I would say, Michael Jordan was going to do whatever it takes to win, no matter where he was. And I think no matter what team he went on, he was going to have tremendous success. Now, whether it's going to be 6-0, who knows? It could have been more than 6-0, or it could have been slightly less than 6-0. But I believe that success, like I said, I truly believe that because of Jordan's mindset. And let me expound on this. So I've been watching a lot of Michael Jordan videos and interviews and stuff lately. And here's one thing that Michael Jordan said that, matter of fact, I believe it was during the Cleveland series when he hit the shot. But I've heard him say this quite a few times. And I think it's unique to have this point of view, because to me, this is part of the reason why Jordan not only was so clutch, but just could deliver so consistently. Is Michael Jordan, people talk about Michael Jordan not having any criticism. Michael Jordan had a tremendous criticism. I was going back and, like I said, watching some old tapes, from when he first entered the league and how people were talking. Michael Jordan had tremendous criticism and tremendous pressure. But here's something that I've heard Michael Jordan say several times, basically saying that when people expect you to fail, it takes all the pressure off. Now, a lot of people don't look at it that way. We can say LeBron James. LeBron James is terrified of failure. LeBron James does not do well under pressure. But Michael Jordan looked at it as, if people are expecting you to fail, that takes all the pressure off, because that means anything you do better than that is exceeding expectations. When people are already expecting you to fail, that takes all the pressure off. And he said that in the Cleveland series. Again, the series where he hit the shot. He said everybody's expecting us to do somewhat badly, so it takes all the pressure off. Now, not everyone is going to have that kind of perspective. But to me, that just goes to show you the kind of mentality that Michael Jordan had. He was willing to fail, number one, and when people thought the worst was going to happen, he looked at it as, well, if you already think the worst is going to happen, then anything I do above that is a success, so to speak. But yeah, it's just how you look at everything. And again, to me, if you never saw Michael Jordan play, let me say this. Fanboys, pay attention to what I'm going to say, and you should probably do this. If you never saw Michael Jordan play, and you just went back and watched all of his interviews and how he talks, you could gather just from his interviews and the way he speaks that he was probably a better basketball player than LeBron James. So anyway, yeah. So to answer your question, I absolutely believe no matter where Michael Jordan went, he was going to have tremendous success. Now, I think, again, the numbers may fluctuate a bit, especially as far as championships. It could have been he won more at another place. He may have won a little less at another place, but he was going to have great success. And, I would say was going to be the GOAT no matter where he went. Okay, so let's get to the second. He says, secondly, let's stay with Portland here for a second. Call me crazy, but I think if you replace Scottie Pippen with Michael Jordan on that 2001 Blazers team that made a run at the Lakers, I'm sorry, I just feel Michael wins. I feel his leadership was the best and was well needed to go along with those guys like Rasheed Wallace, Damon Stoudemire, Bonzi Wells, Brian Grant, and Sabonis, just to name a few. What do you think? Even though it was Wizards Jordan, do you think he gets past the Lakers? Do you think he has enough to propel those young guys past the Lakers instead of Scottie. And again, here we go. Absolutely. I truly believe that. I mean, that was a talented team. And again, Scottie's not an alpha like that. Scottie's not an alpha like that, and Scottie can't play like MJ. So, I mean, first of all, you have to think, maybe if MJ was on that Blazers team, maybe he never gets injured. Maybe he never gets that torn meniscus, during that first season. But yeah, I think MJ's leadership, he would have, number one, MJ was already regarded as the GOAT and respected like that. So I feel like, you heard of stories. MJ is an owner for the Hornets, cooking some of these young players in one-on-one in practice. So back in 2001, and he was getting better and better as the season, and he would have actually had some talent around him versus what he had on the Wizards. Yeah, I absolutely believe MJ could have got a chip out of that team. But anyway, shout out to at Snug Chamberlain 9986 for the $5 super thanks and for the continued support on the channel. You are greatly appreciated. And next up, we got at Keith Brazil 6909 with the $10 super thanks, and he simply says thanks. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and definitely thanks so much for showing love to the channel. Again, I can't thank you enough. Next up, we have at G the Great One with the $5 super thanks. He says, and this is on my The Harsh Truth for LeBron James fan video. He says, excellent as always, uncommon sense. This was never a legit debate. LeBron should be debated versus guys like Karl Malone and KD, not Jordan. LeBron is a certified underachiever. With the talent he possesses and the talent he has played with, he should have won at least 7 championships. That is a fact. I would probably say even more than that. But people forget that he was the betting favorite to go with in the 2009 and 2010, but he choked. With that being said, he should have 12 finals appearances and a minimum of 7 championships. The only finals that he went to that I give him a pass for losing is 2018. All the others were winnable. LeBron just didn't give full effort on both sides of the floor and ultimately ended up quitting on the court. His terrible body language and leadership rubbed off on his teammates, thus resulting in a loss. Keep the pressure on him, you uncommon sense, and congratulations on the growth of the channel, fam. At G the Great One, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the continued support. Someone who's been supporting my channel, I would say since near the beginning of my channel. So I can't thank you enough. And yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. And it's funny, you brought up the leadership thing. And again, like I said in the beginning of this video, I've been watching a lot of Michael Jordan videos, and I was recently watching one about the flu game. And Michael Jordan was in the post-game interview, and he said something that made me immediately think of LeBron James. Michael Jordan said regarding his effort during the game, and whether it was the flu or food poisoning or whatever it was, Michael Jordan said, if I gave up, then they would give up. And again, to me, this is the thinking of a true leader. If I give up, then my team gives up. This is the thinking of a true leader. And again, you brought out about his terrible body language. There is so many times. I mean, you really can't count the times where LeBron James just looks defeated. How can you lead like that? How can the leader of the team look defeated? What do you think that's doing to the players who's supposed to be following you? Because you're obviously the most talented on the team. You have the most potential on the team. So if the person with the most talent on the team, even though his talent may be overrated, with the most talent and most potential on the team is giving up, how does that affect the players who aren't as talented? You know, they're going to be thinking like, wow, if LeBron doesn't feel like we can win, we really must not have a shot. And this has been the case with so many games for LeBron James. It's unfathomable that people could compare this guy to Michael Jordan. But it's really unfathomable that a lot of people have this guy in the top 5. Again, that was one of my first videos I ever did for this channel, which is why LeBron James is not top 5. It doesn't make sense that people could have this guy in the top 5. Not if you're actually watching the games. Not if you actually care about playing the game with integrity. That just doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, let's see what else he said. He said something else I wanted to comment on. Oh, yeah. So he said LeBron just didn't give full effort on both sides of the floor and ultimately ended up quitting on the court. And again, another thing with LeBron James. And again, I've recently done a video where I mentioned the Tyronn Lue interview where he's talking about the 2016 finals. I know, fanboys, you're going to get tired of hearing this, but it is, your king did it. Your king did it. So, but what Tyronn Lue talks about, you know, they're losing and he looks down and sees LeBron James with his legs crossed, filing his fingernails. Yeah, I mean, it just sounds ridiculous every time you say it. So, yeah, LeBron not giving full effort on both sides of the court, to me, it's just par for the course of what you've seen. And again, to me, it's only become more apparent in his later years. Like when he was younger, he played with more energy. So a lot of that stuff got ignored. But it's like when you go back and look at some of those games, like the 2007 finals. Again, the problem that I have with that is that LeBron, you can say he's young and okay, maybe he hadn't earned the leadership of the team. But again, when Michael Jordan came into the league, he was not turned over the team. Like he had to earn his place on that team. But what you can say Michael Jordan did do is led by example, by playing hard every single minute, every single second of every single game. And this is what you do not get from LeBron James. This is why I've always said LeBron James is the most inconsistent superstar we've ever had. And really, this is what it's all about, is consistency or not. Michael Jordan is arguably the most consistent superstar we've ever had. That is what it's about. It's how consistently can you do these amazing things. And not only is LeBron James inconsistent, but he's just had some of the lowest lows that a superstar could ever have. So anyway, shout out to @G the Great One. Again, thanks so much for the $5 super thanks. Thanks so much for your continued support of the channel. And we got one more here. @Snug Chamberlain again, 9986. And this is on my did MJ's looks and swag help with his iconic status video. He says, thanks. Love to hear your thoughts on the Scottie Pippen interview in which he broke down the comparison between Michael Jordan and the Deer, James, the 4 and 6er, the CFL leader. Scottie and Michael was not asked to play the way the Deer plays because he was the facilitator and MJ was a scorer and defender. Scottie says there shouldn't even be a debate because they have totally different play styles. He ended by saying there is no game that he would ever play in that he chooses LeBron over MJ. Fanboys. Also, what do you think about Kareem saying that the young kids today don't have the desire to play with their backs to the basket and maybe learn the hook shot or just be skilled in the post? He says kids are so enamored by the three-point shot. It looks cool taking 30-footers. He ends by saying if that's the game of today, then a lot of young people will forget him and a lot of players that played like him and his era. What do you think? So let's go to the first thing about that Scottie interview. I know exactly which one you're talking about. I believe that's the one where he's up there with Tracy McGrady as well. Well, first of all, let me say this. at this point, it's hard to have faith in anything that Scottie says because he's a flip flopper as well. You know, you might as well consider him part of the CFL. But first of all, you know, to say that LeBron and Michael Jordan have two totally different play styles. I mean, you can say that, but I feel like the fact of the matter is no matter what your play style is, it's still about what impact you have on the game. And Michael Jordan's impact on the game was much greater than LeBron James' impact could ever be. And then the other thing is, you know, for Scottie to say that, you know, Michael Jordan played point guard for a short period of time, and we all know how he did. I mean, he almost averaged a triple-double. So Michael Jordan could do what LeBron James do, but Michael Jordan played the role that was necessary to win championships. And here's the thing. LeBron James is a terrible leader because he's a terrible follower. LeBron James can only play in the system because he's a terrible follower. If LeBron James was a good follower, he would be coachable. If LeBron James was a good follower, he would have learned other things to enhance his game that allowed him to play outside of the system. But he's not. Again, great leaders are normally great followers, which is why Michael Jordan was both. Michael Jordan was willing to change his game to whatever was necessary to get the job done. And, you know, Scottie saying that there wasn't a game that he would ever play in and choose LeBron over MJ. Well, I feel like that's obvious, Scottie. Is like, do you want to win? Do you want to be 6-0 or do you want to be 4-6? That shouldn't be a hard question, Scottie. And then let's get to the last thing. What Kareem was saying about kids today don't have the desire to play with their backs to the basket, and that a lot of people will forget him and a lot of players that played like him. Unfortunately, that is a possibility. I feel like players like Kareem and, you know, all the great centers and power forwards of the past, a lot of them really may be forgotten if someone doesn't come to save the NBA. But at the same time, I do believe that the NBA is going to eventually run itself out of business if they keep on this route. I truly believe that because, again, to me, you know, they keep talking about the casual fan and the casual fan liking offense, but resistance is what creates the real superstars. You know, you complimenting all these players, you know, who want to load manage, only play 65 games, not really play in the All-Star game, who don't compete in dunk contests and things like that. I mean, because you've created a league full of soft players. And if you do not do something to make these players want to truly compete, I feel like you're going to run the NBA into the ground. So it may come a day where they're going to have to come to those crossroads and make that decision, whether they're just going to let it run into the ground or whether they're going to try to bring back some of the things of old and try to bring back some of that conflict and resistance and struggle into the NBA so that we can actually see who the real superstars are. Because, you know, three-pointers might be exciting in the moment, but that gets old looking at real quick. Like real quick. That gets old to see that over and over again. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens over the next few years. But anyway, shout out again to X Snug Chamberlain 9986. Thank you so much for the $2 super thanks. Thank you to everyone who gave super thanks last week. You all are greatly appreciated. Thank you to everyone who continues to watch, like, comment, and support this channel. You all are greatly appreciated. And yeah, you know, I'm thinking about doing a new segment where I have where I have the supporters of the channel, you know, actually bring me stories of encounters you have with some fanboys, and and we address that there because I mean, you know, it's all entertainment. So someone in the comments said that it's no reaching them, and I'm well aware of that. But it is entertainment. It's like some of the stuff you read is like, am I really reading this? Like, did someone actually write this? And it's entertaining. It's a great laugh. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I will see you next time. All right.